You agree with me on Greg Holland, this weekend scenario with Ned Yost, and you don't like the rookies with Abreu and Tanaka being classified as rookies and maybe winning the award. So let's start positively on those two things.
I'm listening to you earlier, Dog. You're absolutely right. These guys who manage and these closers who play to the save all the time, it makes no sense. In the 1970s, the game you loved, you had a relief ace. The relief ace could come in, be the fireman. Sparky Lyle could come in the 5th inning, 6th inning. When do you need your best reliever out of the bullpen? Bring them in. It's insanity they bring these guys in. And there's a perfect illustration over the weekend with the Royals.
All right, that's one. The rookies with Tanaka and Abreu, you think they should not be rookies too, correct?
I think it's actually insulting to other professional baseball leagues to call these guys rookies. They're first-year players in the United States major leagues, but I was saying this about Ichiro. Ichiro was an accomplished professional major league player just in Japan, and then he comes over and he's rookie of the year. It doesn't make sense to me. It's actually insulting to the Japanese baseball leagues.
All right, enough with the love fest. Now we have some issues.
All right, here we go.
You're going to put Charlie Blackmon in the Hall of Fame because he's off to a good start? I mean, is he just speaking all of a sudden? With the Rockies and all these great OPS numbers, WAR replacement, those are the things, those categories that you love. How about Blackmon for Colorado so far?
Yeah, look, it's small sample size theater. It's something we do on MLB Now. We have a little masterpiece theater, and it's for, whatever it is, 97 plate appearances. He's a good player. I think he might be like all-star-ish level. Maybe a guy who makes an all-star game. He's pretty good.
Now, let's get into this WAR stuff and these sabermetrics. Why do you, Brian, feel that you have to be their spokesman about the numbers? We watch the games. We know that Cabrera is better than Trout. We know that Johnny Cueto isn't the greatest pitcher, the best pitcher in the National League. Yet you continually give me all these numbers that indicate, you try to tell me that Bryce Harper is better than Mel Ott. You try to give me all these crazy numbers to substantiate these stupid things with things that the average baseball fan doesn't pay any attention to. Why the fascination?
Well, that's it. I mean, if you want to be an average baseball fan, go ahead and stick with the numbers you grew up with. I grew up with them too. And I go in now asking the question. Don't go in with the answer. It's about intellectual integrity. Go in asking, who's the best player in the league? Don't go in saying, I think it's Cabrera, and I now want to back it up. I ask the questions, I answer it, and I use the best objective methodology I can get.
But by the same token with Cabrera and Trout, you do know that in a big situation, season in the line, you ought to win a ball game. You want Cabrera in the middle of that lineup more than you want Trout in the middle of that lineup, because Cabrera hits great pitching and he always responds when we haven't seen Trout do that yet. So even you realize, hey, you know what? You want to sit there and talk about some stolen base in July against the Astros. In a big situation, Cabrera is the better baseball player. And even you know that.
And even you, Doggy, could say in a big spot when you're on defense, you'd rather have Trout in center field than Cabrera lumbering over there at first or third.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many great plays did Babe Ruth make and right? Was Lou Gehrig, Keith Hernandez at first base? It's about offense in the big situations. You know that better than anybody.
Hey, by the way, Ruth could also pitch and was the best left-hander in the league as well at the same time. So, yeah, I would take Ruth, and I would take his pitching WAR and his offensive WAR and his defensive WAR.
Yeah, but not in the 20s. And that's another thing about defense with this stupid WAR thing. Defense and pitching are two totally different things. You could have a very good pitching staff and a lousy defense. You guys like to combine this. I mean, the home-run-hut's different. Pitching and defense is not the same thing. It's three different categories: offense, pitching, and defense. And you guys like yourself, who infiltrate the airwaves, want to sit there and tell me that pitching and defense correspond. No, they do not.
Doggy, now
yes.
You have a player, right?
Right.
Let's call him Carlos Beltran, right?
Right.
Let's call him in his prime, Carlos Beltran, right?
Correct.
You
Yes.
want to pay him. You're a general manager. Do you pay him just on his offense, or are you interested in his defense and base running?
You know what? He can be the greatest base runner since sliced bread, and he can catch a fly ball and have a Roberto Clemente arm. If he hits 220 with 10 homers and 60 RBIs, I'm not paying him.
But he doesn't. And if you have
offense.
Jason Giambi, who's a better hitter than Carlos Beltran, great. But you know what? Beltran is worth more because he can play defense at a defensive position and run the bases better. Giambi can only hit.
Well, I mean, again, Beltran right now can hit. You're giving me a guy who's a very good offensive player. And by the way, he's not a Hall of Famer. So take your little statistic. You and Bill James, you can break down your little numbers.
I'll take Bill James. Thank you. I'll take Bill James. Hey, let me give you something, Dog, all right? Objective methodology, wins above replacement. For players center fielders who have played 50% of their games at center field, where do you think Carlos Beltran ranks?
Where Where do you come up with these wins above replacement? You guys with these stupid statistics. There's no wins. Who's the replacement?
It's the one stat, dog. It's the one stat that forces you to confront the totality of a player's contribution, the defense and the base running. And you know where Beltran ranks? I'm just telling you, objectively. I didn't make this up. I'm just looking it up. Where does he rank all time in the history of center field? Seventh all-time, dog. That's a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer, dog.
Hold on now, Brian. You mean to tell me 128 years of baseball?
Yeah.
You think Carlos Beltran's the 7th greatest center fielder the sport has seen?
I don't think that.
You don't believe that, do you?
I don't think that.
Please.
His production says that.
No, he's not DiMaggio, Mays. That's two right. Not Chris Baker.
No, he's not Mays, Cobb, Speaker, Mantle, Griffey, DiMaggio. But he's better than Lofton, Snyder, Ashburn, Jones, Willie Davis, Jim Edmonds, Johnny Damon, Jimmy Wynn. Yes, he's 7th. He's not better than Mays or Cobbs, but he's 7th.
Those last 5 guys I give you want to tell me he's better than Jimmy Wynn? Fine.
Guess what?
You want to tell me he's better than Jerome Walton? Fine. I'll give you those last 7. But I guarantee you, if I dug deep enough, I'll come up with 7 better outfielders than Carlos Beltran.
Here's the point. In all seriousness, dog, when you start ranking, like anything, greatest heavyweights of all time, greatest center fielders of all time, we all think, oh, there's Mays, there's Mantle, there's Snyder, there's DiMaggio, and then... oh, hold on. You drop off that ledge, that all-time great ledge, very quickly, faster than you think.
I'm going to give you a weird one, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. You think he's better than Dominic DiMaggio?
Dominic DiMaggio? Carlos Beltran? Oh,
he's not better. He's not a better fielder. Yeah, you want to make a big deal about fielding. You love the fielding. I'm the other one who goes to crazy on the fielding, not
Dominic
me.
DiMaggio is a borderline Hall of Fame candidate and was an outstanding player. I would take Carlos Beltran. He has much more longevity, and yeah, I'd say he was a better player.
He's not bad defensively. No. Beltran never climbs in a wall.
How many other DiMaggios do you want to go through? You want to go through Papa DiMaggio, who was fishing? How many do you want to go through? Because he's better than all of them except Joe.
Oh, come on, they lost the World Series because Dom wasn't in there in 46 in the 8th inning, for crying out loud.
What?
You remember that one against the Cardinals? The quarter right when Slaughter scored?
Beltran, you're talking 46. Where'd you go? You're in different decades. Where'd you go?
The same one. You're comparing the two of them. All right, what do you like? Let's talk about Cueto for a second. I happen to agree with you. He's pitched very, very well. He is underrated. Maybe if the Reds had him in the last 2 years and the Giants series and last year only 11 starts, maybe they win a series for a change. Give me your thoughts on Cueto. Go ahead.
All right. Now, I think you like this, all right? I'm going to give you a good stat that you can use on this show all the time. All right? You ready?
Yep.
Runs allowed per 9. Mix that in with innings pitched. That makes sense, right? How many innings do you pitch? How many runs do you give up? You dig that, right?
I like that.
I like that. RA9 WAR. All right, here are your RA9 WAR leaders. Now, don't get confused. This just means runs allowed per 9. All right, it's like ERA, except we're using all the runs. I don't want to hear about a guy made an error or not, because you can't compare that to a guy who doesn't have the range either. And the WAR stat, when they just translate it to a number for wins above replacement. But don't get confused by that, doggy. It's just runs allowed per 9 and how many innings did you pitch. And Johnny Cueto is number 1. That means he's the best pitcher in baseball. By the way, if you go by RA9 WAR, which I do, objective methodology, American League Cy Young last year, Hisashi Iwakuma, not Max Scherzer.
Oh, come on.
How many innings do you pitch? How many runs do you allow? Can you be consistent?
Okay,
be consistent.
No, I like Cueto, too. All right, right now you got a game to win for your life. Brian Kenny, she got 5 little kids. You got a game to win there for your life.
They're grown, but I get it.
You want Johnny Cueto? I don't want him.
I'm worried about their safety. I get it. Yeah.
You don't want him pitching that game, do you?
No. Who, Cueto?
Yes. For your life.
As opposed to who? Who else can I have? Wainwright?
You can have anybody you want. You got Verlander. You can have anybody you want.
I'm saying.
Kershaw, anybody.
I'm saying this year so far, Cueto's been the best in baseball. Game of my life. My kids are at risk. I might go Verlander or Wainwright, yes.
Or how about Kershaw? Forget about him when you can make a big deal about Game 6 last year?
No, I'll go Kershaw first overall if I can get that pick. Yeah.
Do you guys who love the war stuff, do you sit there and watch the ball games?
What, you mean they actually play those games on the field? I didn't know that. I had no idea. Come on. We're asking the same questions you are, except we want to look it up and we have objective methodology.
What are you playing, Stratomatic? We got a Game 7 of the World Series going on. I can't watch. I'm playing Stratomatic. Do we do that?
The biggest disconnect that I have found working here at MLB Network is the difference between what we value while we're watching the games when we say, and I'll be sitting right next to Billy Ripken, who will say, that defensive play that guy made, he stopped the ball before it got to the outfield, and he kept the run from scoring from third. That was the biggest play in the game. And we know all those little defensive plays mean so much while we're watching the game, dog. And then when we get to MVP, suddenly, well, this guy's a better hitter. He's the one you want in the 9th inning, up with the bases loaded. So there's a disconnect. What we value when we're watching the games, what we value come awards time. It's time to put them together. Please, be consistent.
I love you, Brian. Keep
Doggy, can I show you one thing? Can I just show you one thing? I wanted to show you. Have you ever seen Clubhouse Confidential, the show on sabermetrics that I do in the offseason?
I passed through the channel. I've seen it yesterday.
All right. I want you to watch one little thing and see if something rings true and familiar to you, okay? Can you just watch?
Yes, I can.
Here we go. Take a look.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian Kenny, and welcome to Clubhouse Confidential. It's time for High Heat. If you're not a hardcore baseball fan, you might be a bit perplexed. It's time for High Heat. We have the thirst to quantify. It's time for High Heat, where baseball is and where it should be headed. It's time for High Heat.
I like that.
Anything?
I like that. Yes. Thank you for the promotions.
I did that on my show for 3 years. By the way, the words you're looking for are thank you.
You're right. Stole it.
You totally stole the name of my show.
I didn't.
You totally stole the name of my show. No, I want you to have it. I love you, dog. I want you to have it. I want you to have it.
I wanted Mad Dog on leash. I didn't want High Heat.
Well, you still took it, and it's working for you. So again, go with my blessing and have success, okay?
Brian, here it is. You know what? I got a present for you. Go to a desert island, because you're such a baseball fan, and take a catalog of the 2013 Astros and watch 162 games. Look at that.
It's time for High Heat.
I see you
It's time for High Heat. It's time for High Heat. It's time for High Heat. Where'd you go?
Brian Kenny.
They took it. They took my show. I'll see you, dog.
He took it, not me.
I'll see you, dog.
Goodbye.
I'll be back, dog. I'm coming back.